Get ready to set your faces from stun to copyright infringement. I don't know how they've got away with this. I'm not sure which question I get asked more. Is it difficult to make friends in Japan? Or, why do you never smile? I smiled last Tuesday when I met a friend and we made the groundbreaking discovery. Oh my god. You are literally Kill Bill. How have I never noticed this resemblance? This is amazing. Now, I'll admit it seems a bit odd or patronising to make a video about making Japanese friends in Japan. Making friends is a precious life skill. It should be as easy as breathing air, walking backwards, or enjoying a Pitbull song. And yet, it is a genuine problem. No diggity, no doubt, there are many foreigners living in Japan with no Japanese friends. Mainly due to the language barrier, but also because it can be easy to get trapped inside the foreigner bubble, which looks like that. I should know I was no exception in my first year. I spent nearly all of my time with other foreigners and other teachers, and in my head I turned the language barrier into a much bigger deal than it actually was, because I couldn't communicate in Japanese. Ultimately, my luck changed at the end of my first year when I was walking down the street downtown, and this Japanese guy walking towards me was literally shocked to see a foreigner out in rural Japan. And his name was...
My name Natsuki.
Natsuki.
You?
Chris.
Oh, good name.
That's me, mate.
Where from?
London, England.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
London?
Yeah.
Yes! Whoa! London guy.
And that's how I met my good friend Natsuki, just walking towards each other down the street on a Friday night, whilst definitely not drunk.
You can go?
Oh, alright, let's go.
Oh, let's go.
And by the end of my second year, I was spending nearly all of my free time with Japanese friends and teaching them key English words and phrases.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Oh, 面白い.
And that transition from being this overexcited tourist to actually living in Japan with many good friends with the cultural and language barriers torn down made me feel that Japan was a country I had a genuine future in after finishing as an English teacher. So no, it's not difficult to make Japanese friends in Japan, at least not if you follow these 3 pieces of advice. So I'd say just by knowing a little Japanese, even the most basic stuff will go a long way. You'll find people will be far more willing to talk to you. And one thing that helped me practice my Japanese and meet Japanese people while removing the language barrier was actually an app called Hello Talk, and it's become a really popular way here in Japan to meet conversation partners and make friends as well. It's an excellent language exchange tool as it solves a few major problems with the whole language barrier. As the app uses text and has translation functionality built into it, you can easily get around these communication problems. Better still, you can correct your friend when they make a mistake, so it is a genuinely useful language learning tool. I'm fairly certain half of Japan uses it, as the moment you open it up and choose Japanese as the language you're learning, you will get so many people contacting you wanting to chat. And you can also search to find someone who you think might be an ideal conversation partner based on their language ability, or where they are, or their personal experience. And you can even make free voice calls through the app as well, which is really useful. I've actually made some really good friends on there who I talk to regularly and practice my Japanese with. You can check it out, the link below, or just search for Hello Talk. But it will certainly help you out, particularly in the early stages of language learning when you want to try and practice some expressions you've learned. Pretty fun and easy to use for anyone learning Japanese, whether you're in or outside of Japan. First of all, if you live in Japan, don't end up like me in my first year, sat inside with a grammar book all day, eating cornflakes. And by the way, while we're on the subject of cornflakes, to afford Kellogg's in Japan, you will have to remortgage your house and your children. Unfortunately, there's only one alternative, and it makes even cardboard seem favourable. As well as that, it has a rather cheeky brand character. Get ready to set your faces from stun to copyright infringement. I don't know how they've got away with this. This is Temmie's cereal. And look what they've done to the Kellogg's cockerel. Almost identical with 2 subtle differences. Temmie's cockerel has a helmet and sunglasses. I wish I could have glimpsed the marketing team at Temmie's sit down to conceive this character. We should probably think up some kind of original character to help brand the product. Nah, fuck it. Let's just use the Kellogg's cockerel. Wouldn't that be like copyright infringement? Not if we put a helmet on the cockerel. Really? Yeah, and sunglasses. But yeah, learn from my mistakes, don't go and buy this. And that was a massive tangent, wasn't it? Before I came to Japan, I kind of thought the whole standing out as a foreigner thing would lead to me having loads of random encounters. I thought if I sat in a coffee shop long enough, Japan would come to me, but it didn't. I met my 5 closest Japanese friends in a street, at a house party, at a work party, at a local festival, and randomly at a bar. I'd say if you go to a lot of parties where you can meet people in the same social circle, it really helps, as it gives a sort of layer of trust by knowing that you share a mutual friend. Although I think I'm starting to read into things too much. We all know the real secret to making friends in Japan is tip number 3. First of all, I'm not advocating the consumption of alcohol. Probably. But in Japan, alcohol feels less like a drink and more like something out of Dumbledore's potions cabinet. You'll find Japanese people can suddenly speak English after just 2 drinks. All of your work colleagues who don't speak a word of English will suddenly magically become fluent at a work party. For example, one non-English teacher at the school where I worked actively avoided me in the corridor for fear of having to use English. Yet after just 2 beers at a recent party, he was able to talk to me about his favourite bridges for over an hour in flawless English. And, you know, it was an interesting conversation. But English aside, you'll find people who are usually shy, reserved and unopinionated will suddenly open up. You might hear the words hone and tatemae. Tatemae is public stance, and what people have on all day at work. So a lot of opinions are kept to themselves, and it can be difficult to know what someone actually really thinks. Hone is their real thoughts and opinions, and certainly after a few drinks the floodgates will open up there. So in Japan, alcohol is really important in its role as a social tool. So whether you're at a bar, an izakaya or a nightclub, if there's alcohol involved it can be a heck of a lot easier to make friends. So maybe go and drink something. So there you go, lots of advice for making friends in Japan. If you have any advice yourself, please leave your comments below. As for me though, I need to get back to working on my new children's cartoon character. And I think the kids are gonna love Moki the Mouse. Currently passing through Hiroshima. It's an amazing city. In fact, you can see the A-bomb dome just from the hotel window here. Definitely visit the city if you get the chance. Also, please follow on Instagram and Facebook so you can keep up to speed on what's going on and get useful information along the way. Until next time, see you later.